Cincinnati's David Schuler put his 2-0 Bengals to face Mike Holmgren's 0-2 Packers. The winless Pack lost their starting quarterback early. Don Majkowski joining this season's long list of injured quarterbacks. The Bengals already led by 3 when rookie Carl Pickens joined the fun.
And Pickens takes it at the 6-yard line and makes a move. Gets outside to the 15. Now coming back across the field, there's a lot of room on this side. This could be a spectacular return. There are no flags on the field. Pickens with one man to beat. And he hesitates a little bit and blows on by Tim Hawk. And you've got a spectacular touchdown return for Tennessee rookie Carl Pickens.
Cincinnati added a touchdown from Eric Ball, and they led 17-3. Then Terrell Buckley brought the crowd to its feet.
Buckley from the 43. Room! Here we go! He gets away from Esiason, and a little of the Deion Sanders style magic for another Seminole, Terrell Buckley.
So Green Bay back in the hunt, but with backup quarterback Brett Favre at the helm.
A lot of people's book on Brett Favre coming out of Southern Mississippi. Great arm, no touch. Favre looking up top to Sharp. This time he's got the touch. Perfect throw, and Sterling Sharp makes the catch in front of Rob Jones. Gets it down to the 17-yard line. A 33-yard pickup. Favre to Sterling Sharp. Bennett in motion. Favre throws down the middle and has a touchdown with Sterling Sharp. Outstanding second effort by one of the strongest wide receivers in the NFL.
Sterling Sharp was injured on that touchdown play, and the Bengals' next drive led to this field goal attempt by Jimmy Breach. And that meant that Green Bay needed a touchdown with very little time left.
1:07 left. Ball is at the 8-yard line. Here, Brett Favre, you want a challenge? Try this one. And Favre completes on first down to Harry Sidney, who gets a little running room and gets out of bounds to stop the clock. Second down 7 for the Pack. Favre unlooses it and gets it to Sterling Sharp out across midfield to the 46-yard line. Rod Jones making the stop for Southern Methodist. Second big catch of the quarter for Sharp. Clock running. Sharp is hurt.
It's the same injury he had when he scored the touchdown. It's a rib injury. Hard to get his hands up over his head, but he did that to make that last catch.
Over the middle, here comes Workman. And now the Packers must use a timeout. No, they don't have one left. Clock running with the ball at the 35. No timeouts remaining. Favre will stop the clock here, and he does. With their best receiver out of the game from the 35, 19 seconds left. Ball pumps, throws, touchdown!
Every week, the league's quarterbacks go out and try to do this in the face of this. The only time they usually face each other is in barroom arguments about who's the best. Well, this summer, the barroom moved to the beach when Hawaii staged a quarterback competition. Game conditions weren't reproduced with complete authenticity, but over a series of events, players were tested on accuracy, touch, and arm strength.
It's gone.
Over 77 yards.
The Raiders' Jay Schrader won the distance event from Jim Everett and John Elway, but a big gun isn't necessarily an accurate one.
Way
Wait
off.
a minute.
He's going to need remedial work after this one. This is final throw and off once again.
Two relative old-timers, meanwhile, were doing well. Former Atlanta Falcon Steve Barkowski
And hits.
and ex-Colt Burt Jones.
I'd rather be lucky than good, man.
Downfield.
At stake for the players was a share in prizes worth $100,000, but the real pressure came from not wanting to look bad in front of fellow professionals.
We want him to do well, but not as well as us.
We've got that figured out.
Joshua Moon, on the other hand, just wanted his dad to be better than everyone else's dad, and Warren obliged him by winning the rollout event.
That's a 30-pointer.
After 3 Super Bowl defeats, Janet and Jordan Marie Elway could hardly bear to look as the Broncos quarterback went for the lead.
All right, another...
This pass was initially ruled incomplete, but after further review, the call was reversed, and the competition went down to the last event, read and recognition.
Remember, the deeper the target, the higher the point total.
Let's go deeper. We gotta go deeper. Now, let's go deeper. We wanna go deeper. Let's go deeper. We gotta go deeper. Let's go deeper. We gotta go deeper. Now, let's go deeper. We wanna go deeper. Let's go deeper. We gotta go deeper.
With that throw, Ken O'Brien of the New York Jets became the surprise leader, and with 1 throw left, only Elway could beat him.
And that will do it. So Ken O'Brien has won it. Ken O'Brien of the New York Jets has won the NFL Quarterback Challenge. Now let's take a look at the highlights from around the National Football League. Vikings Bucks in Minnesota. Vikes Wade Wilson out at quarterback, Rich Gannon in. Gannon hits Anthony Carter to tie the game at 13. Then hooks up with Hassan Jones to give Minnesota the lead 20-13. But Vinny Testaverde rallies Tampa Bay, connecting with Bruce Hill, who spins away to get deep into Viking territory. Then Vinny finds Hill once again, deep in the end zone, for 6 to force overtime. In OT, Wayne Haddix intercepts Gannon. The Bucks now in position for a Steve Christie field goal. Christie bangs it through and wins it. Tampa Bay coach Ray Perkins is jubilant. The Bucks 23, Minnesota 20. Bad news for the Cowboys in New York. Injured Giant linebacker Lawrence Taylor is okay to play. Giant quarterback Phil Simms goes up top early, finding Mark Ingram in the corner. Then tight end Bob Marasco for a 17-3 halftime lead. Dallas quarterback Troy Aikman's favorite target was Jay Novacek. 9 catches, this one for a touchdown. But the Giants' defense buried Emmitt Smith and the Cowboy hopes in the second half. Pepper Johnson leads the cheers for New York. Giants 31, Dallas 17. Green Bay coach Lindy Infante unhappy early. Detroit's Barry Sanders gets the Lions on top. Then quarterback Rodney Peete finds himself all alone with some running room in the run and shoot. Takes it himself for a 21-10 Lion lead. But Don Makowski rallies the pack. He finds Jeff Query on the slant for a 24-21 Green Bay lead. Just a minute left. The Lions' Eddie Murray can tie it late, but his 4th missed field goal of the day makes Wayne Fontes an unhappy coach. Green Bay 24, Detroit 21. Colts quarterback Jeff George on the sidelines in Philly, watching the Eagles' Randall Cunningham constantly find running back Keith Byers. 12 catches, 133 yards. This one setting up a Cunningham to Fred Barnett touchdown aerial. This good for a 17-7 Philly lead. Randall pumped up. The Colts again without Eric Dickerson. Albert Bentley says Eric who? Racing 26 yards for a touchdown. Colt quarterback Jack Trudeau combines with Billy Brooks to reach the Eagle 5 late in the game. And with 5 seconds left, last play, Trudeau to Brooks, touchdown. Kick is good. Colts shock the Eagles and Buddy Ryan 24-23. Will the Steelers offense score a touchdown? That's what Bubby Brister and Joe Walton hope. Well, take a lesson from the Dolphins, guys. Miami's Jim Jensen hits Farrell Edmonds on this fake punt. And that sets up Sammy Smith's 7-yard touchdown run. Dan Marino goes long to Mark Clayton for another Miami score. Did Bubby learn anything? Not really. 3 interceptions, just 76 yards. He misses Lewis Lips once and misses him again. No touchdowns for Bubby and Joe in Pittsburgh. Dolphins breeze 28-6. Browns coach Bud Carson has a struggling squad too. Bernie Kosar finds Eric Metcalf over the middle, and then Metcalf fumbles on his own. Chiefs quarterback Steve DeBerg hits Rob Thomas in stride for 47 yards and a touchdown. DeBerg, 189 yards, no interceptions on the day. Then Kansas City's defense blasts the Browns. Brian Wagner's punt is blocked. KC's Chris Martin runs it in. Then Albert Lewis blocks yet another, his 3rd in 3 weeks. They kick the pigskin around. Kevin Ross finally picks it up and scores another for Kansas City. Cleveland owner Art Modell watches his team shut out. KC 34-0. Chargers Oilers in San Diego. Houston's Warren Moon finds Drew Hill early for a 7-0 Oiler lead. Then follows with a 22-yard strike to Ernest Givens. 14-zip Houston. The Chargers try to come back, but Billy Joe Tolliver is picked off by Bubba McDowell. Warren Moon threw for 355 yards. Oilers 17-7. John Hannaday in New England. Patriots could have used him. New York Jets rookies owned the game. Number 1 pick Blair Thomas showed speed and power on the ground. Quarterback Kenny O'Brien looked to rookie wide receiver Rob Moore from Syracuse and found it with a 69-yard touchdown pass. And fullback Brad Baxter sliced through New England's defense for yet another 6 for the Jets. Pats quarterback Mark Wilson intercepted 3 times. John Stevens, halfback option, also intercepted. Pats owner Victor Kiam feeling nauseous. Jets crushed New England 37-13. The unbeaten Bears and Raiders in Los Angeles. LA's Art Shell didn't have to wait long for his silver and black to get on the board. Jay Schrader bombs away to speedster Willie Gault inside the 5, where Marcus Allen scores the first of his 2 touchdowns on the day. Bears quarterback Jim Harbaugh says, I can do that too, hitting a wide-open Dennis Gentry for a Bear touchdown. But Harbaugh makes a fatal mistake. Hit by Aaron Wallace, he fumbles. Greg Townsend recovers in the end zone. 80,000-plus cheer for the 4-0 Raiders. 24-10 over the Bears. Redskins Cardinals in Phoenix. Halloween comes early to Arizona. The Cards' Tim Rosenbach gives Phoenix a 10-7 lead, hitting Roy Green from 12 yards out. The ref nods approval. But things go sour after that. The center's over here, Tim. Over here, that's right. Redskins storm back. Stan Humphries, 20 of 25. 2 touchdowns throwing, 1 running. Here to Gary Clark for 42 and a score. Then again for 42 and another score. Ernest Biner finishes off the Redskin route. The Phoenix fans say, I've seen enough. 17-13. The place to be, Anaheim, California, for the Rams and Eagles. Jim Everett goes over the middle to Henry Ellard for 50 yards to put the Rams on top. But Philly's Randall Cunningham says, Mike be nimble, Mike be quick. Mike Quick, a beautiful grab for 6. And then finds Calvin Williams deep in the end zone to put Philly on top for good. The Eagles get a much-needed first win, 27-21 over the Rams. Lions-Bucks in Tampa Bay. Detroit's Wayne Fontes trying to rev up the run and shoot. Quarterback Rodney Peete does it himself, going to the 1 to set up a Lions score. The Bucks' Gary Anderson wants to throw. Says no. I can run too. And catapults himself into the end zone. Tampa Bay's Vinny Testaverde then goes to work, hooking up with Ron Hall. Then John Harvey for 6. Vinny leads the way. Tampa Bay 23, Detroit 20. Would they run? Would they shoot? Nope. The Falcons and Lions would fight in Detroit. Rodney Peete's touchdown pass got the Lions started early. Barry Sanders kept things going for Detroit on the ground. This 20-yard-plus run into the end zone gave Detroit the lead. Now, Steve Broussard brought the Falcons back to within 7 after this score, but an untimely personal foul on Andre Bruce killed the Falcons' final chance for a road win. Atlanta coach Jerry Glanville learns live by the sword, die by the sword. Lions 21-14. Sunday night in Pittsburgh, the Steelers and Oilers, and Houston's Ernest Givens helps the Steelers out a bunch, deflecting this Warren Moon pass right into the hands of David Johnson for an early Pittsburgh touchdown. The Steelers' Rod Woodson personal foul kept the Houston drive alive. Lorenzo White scoring a very questionable 6 points. But Woodson atones later for his sin with this electric punt return for a Pittsburgh touchdown. And the Steelers send Houston to an early 0-2 mark with a... Look at the highlights from around the National Football League. Lions quarterback Rodney Peete eyes victory in Chicago, but it's Bob Galliano who puts Detroit ahead 17-14 with a 22-yard touchdown pass to Richard Johnson. Later, though, Galliano's pass picked off by the Bears' Ron Rivera. It leads to the tying field goal. We go to overtime. Eddie Murray can win it for the Lions. It's wide. And Chicago quarterback Jim Harbaugh takes advantage with 4 minutes left, hitting Neil Anderson in stride down the right sideline, 50 yards. Bears win 23-17. John Robinson's Rams in Cleveland, all Jim Everett. 4th and goal, he hits Pete Holohan for 6. 10-3 Rams. Then Gaston Green for touchdown number 2. It's 16-10 Rams. Everett then finds Robert Del Pino for his 3rd touchdown strike of the day. 261 yards total and 4 touchdowns. The last one to Buford McGee. Browns owner Art Maudel can't bear to watch another blowout. Rams cruise 38-23. Tampa Bay trying to snap a 6-game losing streak. Down 7-zip. Vinny Testaverde on top to Willie Drury, 89 yards. It's all tied at 7. The Falcons' Mike Rozier carries people on his back into the end zone. Atlanta up by 1. Less than a minute left. Testaverde to Mark Carrier, the game winner. Buccaneers feel young again. Beat Atlanta 23-17. Hog Heaven in Washington. Skins Dolphins. Mark Rippon to Jimmy Johnson. The first of 3 touchdown passes for Rippon. The other 2 to veteran Art Monk. Great catch at the back of the end zone. And yet another for good measure in the corner. Ernest Biner picks up 157 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the game ball. Redskins blast Miami 42-20. 2 coaches who don't like each other, Sam Wyche and Chuck Noll. Bengals Steelers. And Cincy goes up 10-0 on this 50-yard Boomer Esiason to Eddie Brown touchdown pass. Bengals keep the pressure on. They sack Bubby Brister for a safety and 2 points. Right after this, next series, James Brooks takes it in. It's 16-6 Cincinnati. 4th and goal. Steelers down 4. Brisker overthrows Eric Green. Bengals stay warm in Pittsburgh. Win 16-12. Patriot fans hiding their identities in New England. Kansas City wastes no time. First play, Steve DeBerg to Stephon Page. Deep, 86 yards, breaks a tackle, touchdown Kansas City. How bad are the Pats? Well, they tackle their own teammates. Let's punt. Let's not. Albert Lewis blocks it for the Chiefs. Yes, the Patriots will be number 1 draft day. Kansas City rolls 37-7. Former teammates Steve Walsh and Troy Aikman, Saints Cowboys in Dallas. Reuben Mays behind Ironhead Hayward's great block goes 15 yards to score. It's 10-0 Saints. Dallas right back. Aikman to Darrell Johnston. The Cowboys up by 1. Walsh tries to rally New Orleans. Hits Ironhead, who fumbles. Dallas recovers. Cowboys hold on, win their 6th, 17-13 over the Saints. Newest Cardinal Dexter Manley watches from the sideline. It's the Colts strike first in Phoenix. 4th down, Jeff George to Anthony Johnson, wide open touchdown. George then finds Jesse Hester for 46 yards. It sets up another score. Indy's up 17-3. Back comes Phoenix, down 17-13. Cedric Mack picks off George, and then the key play. Mack, just as he's about to be tackled, laterals to Marcus Turner, who carries it in. Phoenix storms back, nips the Colts 20-17. Dan Henning's Chargers against the Jets in San Diego. Billy Joe Tolliver to Anthony Miller, and the Chargers are up 24-10. Jets right back. Kenny O'Brien to a leaping Al Toon. It's 24-17. Tolliver, though, responds. This strike to Nate Lewis, a great catch, makes it 31-17. Marion Butts does the rest. 52 yards here, 159 on the day, 2 touchdowns. Chargers blow out the Jets 38-17. Mile high and cold in Denver. Jay Schrader's Raiders in town. Schrader to Ethan Horton, and it sets up a Los Angeles touchdown. John Elway bounces the Broncos back, hitting Vance Johnson for 6. Can Bo Jackson play football? Can Bo Jackson hurt people? Bo Jackson, great run, 62 yards, touchdown Raiders. Denver within 3 late. David Treadwell's field goal to tie, blocked by Jerry Robinson. Raiders sweep the Broncos 23-20. Oilers Seahawks at the Kingdome, Seattle. Chris Warren sweeps it in to put Seattle up 7-3. But Warren Moon comes back, connects with Ernest Givens. We're tied at 10. Oilers have 2 chances to win, but Alan Pinkett fumbles this reception. It's recovered by Seattle. Then, instead of trying a field goal, time runs out on this pass over the middle. Overtime. You guessed it. Oilers fumble. Second straight week, Seattle takes advantage of the same situation. Norm Johnson's field goal gives Seattle a 13-10 win. Green Bay Cheeseheads in Minnesota. Packer quarterback Anthony Dilweg is upended on this play. He fumbles, but he was ruled down on contact. The Vikings up 6-0. Tiger Green slams in to block this Minnesota punt. Packer touchdown. Green Bay goes ahead 7-6. Razzle-dazzle time now. Herschel Walker to Rich Gannon, who goes deep to Anthony Carter. Incredible catch. 16-7 Bikes. Next series, Al Noga strips Anthony Dilweg. Ball free in the end zone. It's a Minnesota recovery. Minnesota wins 5th straight, 23-7 over the Pack.
Now a look at the highlights from around the National Football League. Foggy Chicago for the Bears and the Chiefs. The ageless Nick Lowry had 5 field goals on the day for Kansas City. The Chiefs' running game was effective too. Christian Okoye from 3 yards out, touchdown. The Bears struggled all day. When quarterback Mike Tomczak completed a pass here to James Thornton, he fumbles. Kansas City recovers. The only Chicago highlight, rookie Johnny Bailey from tiny Texas A&I, 95 yards on a punt return, touchdown. Chiefs blast the Bears 21-10. Rainy Cincinnati for the Bengals-Browns. Cleveland quarterback Mike Pagel picked off by James Francis, 17 yards, 6 for the Bengals. James Brooks putting some moves on. It leads to a Boomer Esiason to Rodney Holman touchdown. 14-0 Bengals. Cleveland fights back. Kevin Mack takes it in. We're tied at 14. But Boomer to Ball. Eric Ball. Bengals back on top. Browns driving late. Eric Metcalf drops the ball. Cincinnati 21, Browns 14. Buffalo quarterbacks Reich and Kelly watch a kicking game in Washington. The Redskins' Chip Lohmiller had 5, 37, 24, 19, 43, and finally 32 yards. Mark Rippon hooked up with rookie Steve Hobbs for a touchdown. Washington cruises by the Bills 29-14. Ron Meyer's Colts visit Miami. Colt quarterback Jeff George with a sidearm toss to Albert Bentley. Touchdown, Indianapolis. Sammy Smith goes up and over and puts the Dolphins up 14-7. Miami's Jeff Cross causes George to fumble. Brian Soche picks it up, takes it in 13 yards for the score. Final play, Colts down 6, Hail Mary, not answered. Miami 23, Colts 17. New Orleans Saints hoping Atlanta beats Dallas. Cowboy quarterback Babe Laufenberg leveled. Brian Jordan with the interception. Second half kickoff. Keith Jones right up the middle and goes all the way. Deion Sanders helps out a little bit. It's 14-0 Atlanta. Neon Deion Sanders, well, he applies the icing. This interception return for a touchdown gives the Falcons a 26-7 win and keeps the Saints' playoff hopes alive. Joe Montana watches from the sidelines as Herschel Walker puts the Vikings up 10-0 on San Francisco with this touchdown. But Joe's understudy, Steve Young, floats a beautiful touchdown pass to Jerry Rice for one score. Then, with less than a minute left, finds John Taylor over the middle. Touchdown. 49ers pull it out, beat the Vikes 20-17. Lots of Giant fans came to Boston and liked what they saw early. Hostetler to mega touchdown. But the Patriots fought hard. Tommy Hodgson finds Irving Fryer. We're tied at 10. Matt Barr gave the Giants the lead for good, and when a late New England field goal missed, the Giants escape with a 13-10 win. Sammy Winder's last game for Denver. He wants to go out a winner. Bobby Humphrey helps with this touchdown run. John Elway's pass to Mark Jackson, good for 6 more. The Denver D helps out, sacking Anthony Dilweg for 2. Broncos 22, Green Bay 13. Jets and Bucks fight it out in Tampa Bay, literally. Broderick Thomas and Kenny O'Brien going at it. The Bucks' Reggie Cobb fumbles. Jets recover. It leads to a Blair Thomas touchdown, 16-7 Jets. Tampa Bay keeps it close. Vinny Testaverde connects with Bruce Hill from 7. Bucks lose, though, 16-14. Chargers rookie quarterback John Freeze faces the Raiders. Freeze to Craig McEwen. Touchdown. Chargers up early. Marcus Allen right back for the Raiders with this touchdown plunge. Then Donnie Elder lifts the San Diego fans out of their seats. A 90-yard kickoff return. It leads to a field goal. Chargers 12-10. Raider coach Art Shell has seen enough. Jay Schrader to Steve Smith for 6. The Raiders win 17-12 and clinch the AFC West. Seahawks-Lions, they're battling. Brian Blades calmed down by Brother Benny. Barry Sanders puts 5 different moves on Seahawk defenders to score from 16 yards out. Dave Craig intercepted by the Lions' William White in the end zone. Seattle's defense turns it around, though. Eugene Robinson on the fumble recovery for 6. Then Detroit's Rodney Peete is sacked 3 times. One more for good measure. And has a pass knocked down as well. Chuck Knox's Seahawks win big, 30-10. Oilers-Steelers. Steelers win, Pittsburgh and Seattle make the playoffs. Oilers win, Houston and Cincy are in. All Oilers. Lorenzo White for 6. Cody Carlson subbing for the injured Warren Moon. It's Ernest Givens for 6 more. Then Carlson again, this time to Drew Hill. Touchdown Oilers. Carlson had the night of his life, 22 for 29, 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards. Touchdown number 3 to Haywood Jeffries, and the route is on. Richard Johnson picks off Bubby Brister. Houston pounds the Steelers 34-14, and they will play at Cincinnati against the Bengals next week.
Jeff Hostetler for the injured Phil Simms, Giants-Cardinals. Haas to Mark Ingram, who rolls in, 17-7 Giants. But Tim Rosenbaugh brings Phoenix back with the help of Ernie Jones. Over the middle, then down the right sideline. All the way. Cards within 3. Hostetler does what Sims doesn't, scramble for 6 more. Cards within 3, under 2 minutes. Lawrence Taylor gets the sack. Giants hang on 24-21. Joe Montana sits out the Niners-Saints game. Tom Rathman makes Joe smile early, going in from short distance. But Steve Walsh to Greg Scales gets the Saints even at 7. 10-10 late. Morton Anderson nails this field goal. Jim Moore's body English helps. Saints win 13-10. That man is everywhere these days, including San Diego, to watch Kansas City's Steve DeBerg hit Stephon Page for a touchdown. And then connect with Todd McNair for another. McNair takes it all the way down the left sideline. It's 21-7 Kansas City at the half. Chargers aren't through. Rod Bernstein goes up, over, and in. And then rookie Kittrick Taylor brings the crowd to its feet with an electrifying punt return. We're tied at 21. But then Deron Cherry intercepts and seals it for KC. Chiefs 24-21. The NFL remembers the troops in Saudi Arabia. Broncos, Seahawks. Denver up 10-3 on Bobby Humphrey's touchdown. Tied at 10, though, when Dave Craig hits Tommy Kane. Derek Fenner puts Seattle up by 5 with this score. John Elway is then picked off by Melvin Jenkins in the end zone. Last play of the game. A Hail Mary. Elway to Michael Young. Touchdown. No. Denver has 2 men in motion. Game over. Seattle wins 17-12.
Reggie Robion for the third time leads the AFC second in the NFL in punts inside the Browns block. Westbrook runs it in.
Alexander Wright, one of the 2 men back deep for the Cowboys. 14-14 the score, and a kick into the end zone, and Alexander Wright, after a quick hesitation, runs it out. And Alexander Wright may go all the way. .103 yards, no flag, touchdown.
Houston touchdown.
Deion Sanders from his own goal line. And Deion high-stepping from midfield. Touchdown. Atlanta 100 yards for Deion Sanders.
And a beauty. Mitchell back to his 35. Ryan Mitchell has the kicker to beat. He'll go all the way. No flags. Touchdown. Redskins.
From the Chiefs, the 49ers were the other team with a chance of clinching a division title. The Falcons were pumped up at the prospect of stopping them. Or maybe that was helium going into Andre Rison's helmet. In any event, Jerry Glanville's team made a game of it early. Rison making a great catch out of a poorly thrown ball from Bobby Hebert to tie the score at 7 in the first quarter. Then the highest powered offense in the league took over. Ampli, seeing some rare playing time in place of the injured Ricky Waters, moved them down the field. And Tom Rathman, back from injury, finished off the drive from 2 yards out. That was 14-7, and here's what makes the Niners so effective inside the 20. Steve Young's ability to turn running back if all his receivers are covered. That made it 24-7 in the third, and San Fran were cruising. Then came the Falcons' comeback with a helping hand from Dexter Carter. At 24-14, his muffed punt was recovered by Atlanta. And Bobby Hebert, showing good mobility, found Risen again to bring the Falcons within 3. A Norm Johnson field goal tied the game, and on the resulting kickoff, Carter, trying to make amends for his error, just made things worse. His fumble gave the ball back to Atlanta, and with 30 seconds left, Johnson put them ahead for the first time in the game. Deion Sanders nipped any Steve Young heroics in the bud with a brilliant interception inside the final half minute. And San Francisco's playoff celebration will have to wait at least another week.
Special teams are what we're all about, and you can see that each time you watch us play. It's just a great win for us.
The Bills were hampered by injuries as well as internal arguments for their trip to the city of brotherly love. And after a scoreless first half, it was the Eagles who broke the tedium. Herschel Walker's 26-yard catch and run off Bubby Brister's pass in the third quarter, setting up a 19-yarder from Brister to Calvin Williams. And things got worse for the Bills, already without Andre Reed and Mark Maddox. They lost Thurman Thomas and Jim Kelly in this game. On came Frank Reich though, and he led the Bills to 2 scores in quick succession late in the fourth quarter. Field goal, and this touchdown pass to Pete Metzelaars. The Eagles had a chance to tie it in the dying seconds. Matt Barr was just short from 45 yards. So the Bills hang on to win. It was hardly a morale-lifting performance. Bill Belichick was counting on the return of Vinny Testaverde to break the Oilers' winning streak and keep the Browns in the playoff hunt. On Cleveland's first play, Vinny found Eric Metcalf, and he found the end zone. And the Browns held the lead until the second quarter.
Little play action fake. Smooth bunt. Scrambles, has a man over, hits the end zone, touchdown.
The Oilers led 16-10 at half-time, but in the third quarter, the Metcalf-Testaverde combination brought Cleveland back. First, the Metcalf run, then the play fake, and a laser-accurate ball from Testaverde to Mark Carrier. But Vinny had 2 interceptions to go with his 2 touchdowns, and the second, pulled in by Chris Dishman, was fatal, setting up Al Del Greco with the game-winning field goal to extend Houston's run to 8. After their upset win away at Buffalo last week, the Raiders were back in serious contention for the AFC West title, and this week they were back to what they do best, stretching the field vertically, as Al Davis likes to put it, first with Tim Brown's 74-yard punt return for a touchdown, then with Jeff Hostetler's 56-yard pass to James Jett. Seattle scored a couple of late touchdowns, but the Raiders keep pace with Denver and close on KC. And while the Chiefs and 49ers were failing to win their divisions, the Giants were sneaking into the first definite playoff spot of the season, if you can call what Rodney Hampton does sneaking. That run set up a 1-yard touchdown, but Hampton went on to have the game of his career. 173 yards rushing on 33 carries, reducing the Colts' offense to spectators for long periods. Phil Simms made the playoffs a certainty with this pass to Chris Callaway, and the venerable LT was beside himself with excitement. In New Orleans, Jerome Bettis was even better than Hampton. The Rams rookie had 212 yards as his team dealt another setback to the Saints' stumbling playoff run. Green Bay's Edgar Bennett had only 59 yards rushing against San Diego, but these 3 helped towards an important road win for the Pack. In the battle for first pick in next year's draft, the Patriots won, or lost depending on your outlook. They now have 2 wins to the Bengals' 1. In Minneapolis, the Cowboys steamrolled the Vikings behind 100 yards rushing from Emmitt Smith and 125 receiving, including this touchdown from Michael Irvin. In yet another quarterback switch, the Lions are now going with Eric Kramer, and he responded with 3 touchdown passes, as the Lions won for the first time without Barry Sanders. The Bears, who'd beaten Detroit, Kansas City and San Diego on the road, had their 4-game winning streak brought to an end at Tampa Bay. And this was the highlight of the Jets' 3rd field goal-only game in a row. They're still 8-5. And a chance for the Saints to clinch the NFC West with a win over the second-placed Falcons. Defense dominated the first half until Saints quarterback Steve Walsh went off apparently hurt, to be replaced by the lesser experience but stronger arm of Mike Buck.
Comes the reverse flea flicker. Holy cow! Turner to the 2. Kennedy spins off the tackle, cuts it outside. Touchdown! Haynes is open. Touchdown Falcons. Third and 9. Miller throwing deep sideline. Thomas picked off by Buck. Buck forced out of bounds. McAfee. Touchdown.
A Norm Johnson field goal pulled Atlanta back to within a touchdown. Then, with 2:10 left to go and the Saints trying to run out the clock, Fred McAfee was hit by Rick Bryan and fumbled, giving Atlanta a chance to tie the game.
For the end zone, Haynes, touchdown!
That sent the game into overtime, and it was Morton Anderson who had the first chance to win it for the Saints from 55 yards out.
Falcons don't want to be offside. It's short.
New Orleans got a second chance after a Falcons turnover, but instead of going for the field goal, Jim Mora sent on the punting team.
There are some unhappy people in the seats right now. I think they're confused as why would you kick a field goal to win it before? I think what he saw is Morton Anderson just doesn't have the leg to do it tonight, so let's just punt it. Barnhart, very, very high. Saints are down there and stop it inside the 5. You got all that speed on offense. Throw the football. Intended for Haynes. He's got it. What a throw by Miller. Norm Johnson. Fulhaig is the holder. It's a 50-yarder to win it. Got a chance. It's good.
A giant. Last spring, when the Toronto Argonauts outbid the NFL to land the Rocket, Rakib Ismail, many people thought both parties had made a mistake. But this season, the rocket-fueled Argos made it to Canada's Super Bowl, the Grey Cup, where they took on the Calgary Stampeders. In the first half, Rocket spoiled a brilliant kickoff return by fumbling in Calgary territory. And in the third quarter, the Stampeders drew to within a point of the Argos on this touchdown pass. On the ensuing kickoff, though, Rocket redeemed himself.
The Rocket looks for a hole. If he gets to the outside this time, he's gone.
Goodbye.
The Rocket delivers. The $1 Million Man provides cause for celebration among the Toronto Argonaut owners. An 87-yard kickoff return.
That run back, the longest in Grey Cup history, affected was baptized man of the match.
When we came in the locker room after halftime, and I fumbled a couple of times, all the guys, all the coaches came up to me, and they told me, Rock, we're going to get you one. There's no way in heck we're going to go out this game without getting a return. And it just came to pass, and I just want to thank all of them and everybody for supporting us all year, and just for being behind us and giving the support we needed to get to where we are now, Grey Cup champions, 1991.
AstroTurf makes the most ideal playing surface in existence. A brilliant uniform carpet of green laid in huge strips and held together by zippers offers the University of Houston Cougars the most envied football stadium anywhere.
In the 60s, maybe, but few players look forward to playing in the House of Pain these days. Or come to that, any of the 14 stadiums around the league where natural grass has given way to artificial turf.
We get about 99% of our complaints about our surfaces from 1% of the user, or less than 1% of the user, which is the professional football player.
Hate it. Always did. Never did like it. Every time I've been hurt, it's been on turf games.
I don't know why they use it. I guess it's low maintenance, but it's definitely high maintenance for players, and I don't think there's any need for it at all.
Marcus Allen speaks from experience. He missed 8 games this season after injuring his knee on the AstroTurf at Houston on the opening day of the season.
All I did was make a quick, sharp cut to the right, and I felt the ligament, tear, pop. I liken it to a faulty car. Sooner or later, something's going to go wrong.
There are advantages to AstroTurf. It's all weather for one thing, and the extra traction it offers has produced some of football's most exciting moves.
Look at that! That is marvelous body control. What is it, the Roadrunner cartoon?
But its benefit is also its big danger. Grass gives underfoot. On turf, it's likely to be the foot that gives first, or the ankle, or the knee. So while the game is quicker, so are some players' careers. Running back Kurt Warner was forced to retire after making this seemingly innocuous cut. And Gerald Wilhite of the Broncos never returned from this horrific injury.
It's a little too quick at times because it's so dry, and the two surfaces are it's like Velcro type of, and that's what did my knee in.
And even with the proper shoes, you just see guys, their feet stick, and if they get hit below the, down by the knees, something's going to give, and usually it's the knee, the ankle, or the hip.
And it's not just the big single injury that concerns players. Turf burns are as common as team logos, and beneath them is the general wear and tear on joints. A recent poll showed 85% of players believe turf is dangerous, and many think it shortens otherwise healthy careers.
It takes me a couple more days the week after I play on turf to get back to where I feel like a human being again.
Well, I don't have the statistics to back it up, but I would have to say, based on my experience of 12 years, that, it's not good for a career.
It's almost like taking the street, putting carpet over and saying, all right, get out and play on this street.
That description isn't far wrong. Most artificial surfaces have a concrete base covered with about an inch of turf and padding. But despite reports pointing to the harmful effects of the surface, turf teams remain unconvinced.
There has been no conclusive evidence presented to me or anybody else that would indicate that there's more injuries on artificial grass than there is on natural grass.
Some teams aren't waiting until the obvious becomes the undeniable. In the off-season, New England switched back to grass, evening the natural-artificial split in the league at 14 apiece. Even the turf makers concede that in an ideal world, they'd be out of football.
I think that many people, and perhaps myself included, would prefer to play on a perfectly maintained and perfect condition grass field.
Until a system is perfected for successfully growing grass in domes, though, AstroTurf will remain, and football players will continue to run the risk.
Going to beat up on the Steelers today and win the Central Division Championship.
The 11-game winning streak is over. Here's a home run ball. Caught! Touchdown! Dwight Stone! Unbelievable! Miami wins! 16-13.
Has the pocket hold up perfectly. He's got all day. Looking for Jackson in the end zone. Drive! The goal line! Do you believe it?
Tim Brown on the return. He's to the 50. Cuts a head fake to the inside and goes all the way for the score.
Draw for Sanders. And Sanders first down. Touchdown. He's going to pay dirt. Touchdown, Detroit. Barry Sanders. 45-yard scamper. Sims for Baker. Caught! Touchdown!
fake to Rathman. Bono throws into the end zone to Sidney. A touchdown, and Bono in the first 22 minutes of the game has thrown for 223 yards.
The Chicago trio of Jimmy Mack, Mad Mack and General McMahon was one of the great multiple personalities of the 80s. Now the former Bear quarterback has found a new role for the 90s in Philadelphia as Mack, the backup.
I'm just happy to be able to get back in and play and hopefully quiet some of the critics out there that told me I've been washed up for years, and it'd be nice to shut them up.
He's got a lot of guts, but he's very bright, and he's a rhythm passer, and I think the offense is suited for him.
McMahon's style may suit the Eagles. The question is whether his body is suited to the rigors of an NFL season. This injury list has kept him from ever completing a full one. And even during the glory days in Chicago, Mack started only 65 of the Bears' 113 games. He's already missed 3 since taking over from Randall Cunningham on the first day of the season, and the Eagles lost all 3. By contrast, they've won 8 of the 10 games in which he's lasted at least a quarter, and his willingness to play through pain has won over many of the skeptics among his teammates.
First of all, you laugh at him all the time because he's a maniac, you know, he's crazy. And then you think about the stereotypes about him before he got here, and then you say, this is not the same guy. He's a guy who cares about his teammates, who cares about the team, so he was accepted from there first. And now you know he's a guy who wants to win.
And not just on the field. McMahon's competitive edge has won him the Eagles' Bowling League MVP title, as well as countless games of locker room dominoes. But although he's very much one of the lads off the field, on it he's proved himself the equal of Randall Cunningham, if not in athletic ability, and certainly in terms of leadership, according to Keith Jackson.
They both take control of the huddle. I couldn't point out a different other than, Jim may use words that Randall don't use in the huddle.
I've talked to him in the huddle, not as calmly as we're talking here, but the only time I get on people is when they're not doing their job. I expect them to do the same when I don't do mine.
I'm the funky QB known as McMahon.
It's nearly 6 years now since Mack did the Super Bowl shuffle with Chicago, but he believes there's a realistic chance of getting there again with the Eagles.
I don't think there's any question it's got what it takes, talent-wise. I think talent-wise we're more talented than we were in Chicago.
Whether or not the Eagles reach the Super Bowl or even the playoffs this season, with Mack back, at least the journey should be interesting.
Rippon with a deep drop and a screen pass set up to Ricky Irvin. He's got blockers and he's got room and he's got a touchdown. Third down, 17. Kelly throws to Lockett.
Hit as he throws, and the pass is caught by Jackson. Touchdown.
Rock the house, Shaw.
Touchdown, Atlanta. Andre Rison.
If he makes this field goal, and he does, he now becomes the all-time leading scorer in Kansas City history.
Can you dig that?
Yeah, man, I can dig it.
And with the Falcons' inaugural game here in the Georgia Dome against the New York Jets last Sunday. The man in black, Atlanta's flamboyant head coach, Jerry Glanville. He's hoping to build on last year's playoff appearance, while the Jets unveiled Browning Nagel, a man who's thrown only 2 passes in his NFL career.
The Jets start out from their 12, and it was coughed up. How about that for a opening snap? Darian Connor of the Falcons with the recovery. The officials, though, checking it over. Atlanta claiming that they did take the football away, and they did. Here's Miller on first down. Touchdown! Michael Haynes on a 14-yard touchdown pass play. First down from the 11. Miller off the roll, looking end zone. Touchdown! Once again, Michael Haynes.
We had a couple of plays planned that we was going with Mike Pritchard. He was going to try to take out one of the safeties. He's going to run a route under him to get his attention and run me behind him. And it worked like we practiced it. And well, on the second touchdown, it was just Chris was on the scramble, and I just found an open place to be, and he hit me with the ball.
Norm Johnson then struck a Falcon and career-tying 54-yard field goal in the second quarter before Browning Nagle and the Jets took to the air.
Nagle able to step up and throws deep. And it is completed. Rob Moore with an acrobatic catch. Gets a first and 10 at the 15. Nagle, touchdown! A wide-open Al Toon. So Al Toon last year, who did not catch a touchdown pass throughout the regular season, has one here. That time, Nagle faced the rush, but completed to Burkett. Nice move by Burkett.
Nagle's second-half brilliance was negated by a fumble here on the 4-yard line and 2 missed field goal attempts by Jason Starowski. And the Falcons were destined to win their first game in front of the new Dome fans. Second half, the Dolphins were holding the momentum and a 7-point lead, but it was turning out to be a long day for their special teams.
Good kick. His best of the night. Indeed. Taken at the 15-yard line. And here is Verdun. Reverses his field, pops to the open. He's to the 30. He's to the 40. Has a blocker. He's to the 35. Can he be caught? He's to the 20. The 10.
What a run
scores.
What a run back.
Clarence Verdun's 84-yard punt return was the longest ever against the Dolphins and appeared to shift the momentum towards Ted Marchibroda's Colts, particularly after this fourth quarter muff punt set up a field goal to give them a 3-point lead. But Dan Marino soon had the Dolphins back in the driving seat.
Touchdown, Tony Martin.
To complete a disastrous day for the Dolphins special teams, the normally consistent Pete Stoyanovich missed the extra point.
And he pulls it. He pulls it and misses it. And so the margin remains 3 points.
Ted Marchibroda's no-huddle offense quickly marched 72 yards downfield, and on the 10th play of the drive, were at the Dolphins' goal line.
And the play-action fake to Clark, and Jeff George dives, and he scores.
Great call by Ted Marchibroda. Great call.
With the margin now 4 due to the missed extra point by Stoyanovich, the Dolphins were forced to go for a touchdown, with less than a minute and a half remaining.
Marino to throw. Here's the pressure. Steps forward. Pass is complete. An excellent move by Clayton. Clayton to the 25 and out of bounds. Stops the clock at the 25-yard line.
Watch how he uses the feet, gliding to his left. Nice athletic play. Lays it right in. Oh, look at that. Right into the arms of Clayton. He avoids the tacklers and gets it down to the 25-yard line.
And a first down. Still a lot of time remaining. All alone. It's Cody Martin. Martin, who has scored a touchdown in the ball game. Inside the 10. Now they'll hurry up. He'll spike it here to stop the clock. 29 seconds left. Second down, goal to go. Incomplete.
They have to go to the end zone here.
Marino scrambles, throws in the end zone. It is incomplete. It will be 4th down and goal to go. Clayton, the intended receiver. Deadly quiet. And it is intercepted.
Look at him go.
It might has it. This is Steve Emmet at 6'4", 290 pounds. He is going to score. Unbelievable.
The clock is out. I don't believe it.
We still have a long ways to go. You know, this is nothing. You know, we're just getting started. We have a lot to prove yet. I think one win doesn't prove much. We got to do it consistently.
Time to get back on the top.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Georgia Dome here in Atlanta, Georgia, let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome everybody to the American football big fight. In the great tradition of the Rumble in the Jungle and the Thriller in Manila, we're proud to present Two Egos in Atlanta. In the red corner, wearing the Hilda Ogden headscarf and weighing 13 stone 3 without jewellery, Dion Primetime Sanders, former local boy made good. In the black, 3 pounds heavier, and wearing a mean expression, Andre Bad Moon Rison. The winner gets the bigger post-game press conference and the chance to face veteran slugger Big Buddy Ryan in a cruiserweight contest. Well, the opening round was tentative, Sanders backing off and using the space of the Georgia Dome's exceptionally large ring. He took round 2, though, landing the nice uppercut when Rison dropped his guard. Then in round 3, the fight came to life.
Hey, we got some duking going on. Dion's giving that Holyfield left hook. Did you see that? That's a classic.
The heavily pro-Rison crowd was screaming for Sanders to be penalised for hitting after the whistle. But after reviewing the video, the WNFLBC fined each fighter £5,000, a fraction of their respective purses. By then, Sanders had established a clear points lead on every scorecard over the home fighter, winning a famous victory on his old stomping ground.
I got one thing to say. This is my house. I built this, and this is my house. I don't care if I'm with the Falcons or not. This is my house, and this will always be my house. Now let's continue.
And that suited the loser. He was already talking rematch.
So what goes around comes around. We got to play him again.
And we'll have it exclusively for you in Week 14. If you thought all the best fights were on satellite, think again. Well, that's the main event over with. Time for the main game now, and it's an AFC West affair as the Kansas City Chiefs travel to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Chiefs are looking to break a 2-game losing streak, but for coach Marty Schottenheimer it goes much deeper. He's never won in Denver, either when he was with Cleveland or since he moved to Kansas City. He'll be looking to this man to break the jinx, but Mile Stadium is one of the few grounds in the NFL where Joe Montana's never won either, and Joe was without a touchdown pass in 2 games, the longest drought of his career. With just 1 win in the first 5 games, Schottenheimer's opposite number, Wade Phillips, is under heavy pressure from the Denver fans. He desperately needs a little mile-high magic to save the season, and possibly his job. And this is the man who could do both. The Broncos win or lose these days on the arm of the great John Elway. You don't often get the chance to see 2 legends in the making go head-to-head. Elway versus Montana is one to set the video for. The game's being played in the thin air of the NFL's high point, the Mile High City, and it's a big night for both coaches. Wade Phillips anxious for a win to kickstart the Broncos season. Marty Schottenheimer trying to break his Denver jinx. It was the Broncos who opened the scoring on the second play of the second quarter. Leonard Russell going around left end from 11 yards out. The Chiefs tied it up at 7 apiece though through Marcus Allen, straight up the middle on 3rd and 1 from the 7. And that's the score as we join the game on Denver's next possession. They have a 1st and 10 on the Kansas City 38. Your commentators are Al Michaels, Frank Gifford and Dan Deardorff.
As Russell picks up 3. The thing that people forget about is that Denver wanted to go out and get a premier wide receiver, so they made a tremendous offer to Tim Brown. That forced the Raiders to come up with the money to keep Brown, and that's when they went after Anthony Miller. And there's another wide receiver, Mike Pritchard. They acquired him in a trade with Atlanta, but he suffered a lacerated kidney. And Derek Russell, another receiver, a good one, he's hurt as well.
Of course, we haven't even mentioned Rob Bernstein. We lost him up in Buffalo for the season, probably with a knee injury. So the Broncos have had their share of injuries.
Boy, the loss of Miller and Bernstein sure has crippled the Chargers, hasn't it?
2nd and 7. Milburn. And the slithery one takes it to the 28 behind a Gary Zimmerman block, close to a first.
Yeah, that's good work by Zimmerman. Keep in mind, this is the left guard and left tackle coming all the way around. Zimmerman from left tackle comes all the way across the formation. Melander 64, Zimmerman 65. Melander gets the pin on Neil Smith inside. Zimmerman gets all the way downfield. This is pretty strong work here by the Denver offensive line.
I was about to ask you if you ever did that in your tackle spot.
Yeah, we used to do it. I'm not sure I did it that well, but I did it.
3rd and a short one, and they give it to Russell. He pulls his way through the middle, and he only needed about a half yard, and he has it.
Well, Russell, a big bonus to the Denver Broncos, got into a contract problem with New England, 1,000-yard rusher from a year ago. And when Bernstein down, the Broncos were very fortunate to have Russell around. They had 100 yards rushing a week ago in their win over Seattle. A lot of football player there in 42.
You just can't survive these days without a big back, a 235, 240-pound guy.
First down, 27, game tied, 7-7. Elway for the end zone, open is another touchdown.
Those are the fireworks. And the crowd loves it.
He beats David Whitmore.
Well, that was the long ball all the way. The Broncos had 3 separate receivers in the end zone. Anthony Miller is the guy in the middle, and Whitmore woefully short.
Elway looked Whitmore off with a pump to the right.
Well, they ran with running both of the outside guys into the end zone as well, Frank. They put the Kansas City safeties in a real bind.
Elam for the extra point.
Aggressive offense from Denver, and they're back up by a touchdown. Here's the Chiefs' next drive with just over 2 minutes left in the half. 1st and 10 on their own 48.
And Montana wide open over the middle. That is Willie Davis. First down to the 27 of Denver. First down, Kansas City at the 27-yard line. They're down by 7, 1:57 to the half. And KC has all of its timeouts. Joe on the run, flushed out, throws it away.
That's the pass pressure that we have said Denver has got to somehow pull together. They have not been doing with the down 4. What they do this time is the Sackmeister is called him. Sackmeister. Fletcher is right in Montana's face.
One of the few times that Denver has gotten pressure just with a 4-man rush. Joe Montana has not hit the ground yet.
Second down and 10 from the 27. And this time they're able to take Fletcher out of the play, and Montana throws and hits the tight end. It's Derek Walker who makes the catch, gets to the 7, first and goal.
Well, that time Montana was looking for trouble and almost bought it, but he stayed alive, kept looking for the alternate receiver, and finally came up with the tight end Walker.
One of the things that he has always done so well is stay alive. That movement, just subtle movements, a yard to the left, a yard to the right. Look at Joe Montana, sense the pressure where it is, and find an open guy. It's just, they're watching it for so long, it's just easy to take for granted.
First and goal at the 7. Anders leaned over to talk to Marcus for a moment. Now Allen in motion. Joe looked toward Allen and then throws it out of the end zone as everybody was covered. Willie Davis, the closest receiver.
That's another thing this man does so well. When they are covered, let's get rid of it. We'll live to fight another day. Just throwing that out of the end zone.
1:32 remaining in the first half.
Quality work by Charlie Waters' secondary, though. That was just outstanding defensive work by the Denver Broncos. This is where noise becomes a physical thing at Mile High Stadium. You can feel it.
Second and goal, and Allen falls down, slips, gets it to about the 5.5.
That was just about the point where John Elway slipped earlier when he went to the bench and changed the cleats. Tough footing in that particular part of the field. If we look again, Marcus trying to break it back, sees a little bit of an opening, plants the left foot, and down he goes.
Still tries to squeeze in there for another couple of yards or so.
Ninth play of the drive, third and goal, ball at the 6. Kansas City trailing by 7. Willie Davis in motion. Joe with time, throws back to the end zone, touchdown J.J. Burton.
And you were right about one thing. He had time to look off one receiver. There was a blitz on the part of the Broncos. It was picked up. Montana waited and waited till Burton got back to the back of the end zone and came right across.
I know one thing. I didn't even have to wait for the official to signal touchdown. Montana does that for us.
That was Andrews with a good block on Fletcher.
Takes a lot of time to come all the way across the back of the end zone like that. As you said, pass protection made it happen.
Lynn Elliott boots it through to tie it.
And that was the halftime score. We pick up the action again early in the third quarter. The Chiefs are driving at the Denver 30-yard line.
Montana throws to Walker. He's out of bounds at the 16-yard line. That's another Kansas City first down. Ben Smith with the tackle. So the Chiefs moving against the porous Denver defense, a defense that's given up an average of 29 points a game.
And Walker having a big night. Keith Cash sidelined with the knee injury. Derek Walker, the former Michigan Wolverine, former San Diego Charger, filling those shoes of Keith Cash.
On first down, the fake to Marcus. Kimball Andrews can't hold it in. The pass a little high, second down.
Simon Fletcher, the guy that time in Montana's face, he's unaccounted for. When you run a screen to that side, Simon Fletcher is unblocked, and it's left to the quarterback to try to get the ball around him to his man. You can see Joe has to go up over the top, and he throws it a little bit high to Andrews, but still a very catchable ball.
Kind of uncharacteristic of Andrews. He's a good receiver.
Second and 10. The Chiefs, after going 9 quarters without a touchdown, got 2. Had the drive at the end of the first half, and now this beauty. Second and 10. Allen, gain of 1. Mecklenburg in the middle is Fulton, third down and 9. What a face, huh?
As though Joe might have changed that play at the line of scrimmage in kind of a strange change-off, if indeed he did. It's second down and 9, second down and 10, as a matter of fact.
10:55 left, third quarter. Game tied, 14-14, third and 9.
Now Marcus is split down here to the bottom of the screen as the wide receiver.
Montana looks the other way, goes the other way, and the catch is made at the 4-yard line by Willie Davis. It'll be first and goal.
Little confusion there by Kansas City. Looked like J.J. Burton was in front of Willie Davis and thought the ball was coming to him. J.J. tried all he could to try to catch that ball.
Remember the back at the beginning of this play, it was Montana moving people around. I think they obviously were in the wrong position.
I think Davis is saying, hey, it's tough enough to catch the ball out here without my own teammate distracting me.
First and goal. Fake to Allen, that buys time, and wide open Joe Valerio, the tackle-eligible touchdown.
Well, that's Joe Valerio's second touchdown of the year.
And you have got to respect the handoff to Marcus Allen, the play action. Good fake by Montana to set it up.
That's a customary spot for Valerio, playing the tight end position. He's an ineligible receiver. He has to report, and he fakes the block at the line of scrimmage and then drifts out. And he's got a pretty good reception percentage. 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Not bad.
The other came in that win against San Francisco in week 2 when they looked awesome. Kick by Elliott is good.
Tell those grandkids a few years from now, of course I scored against Denver.
Sure, on Monday Night Football.
So the Chiefs take their first lead of the game on what's becoming a trademark goal line play for them, faking the handoff to Marcus Allen and throwing to tackle Joe Valerio in as the extra tight end. We're still in the third. Here are the Broncos driving in Chiefs territory as they look to get back on terms.
First down, Elway from the 44. And Elway escapes and picks up close to 7. The pressure was put on by his former teammate, Greg Fragan.
Well, John jokes about his 6.3 speed, referring to an awful slow 40-yard dash, but I think he's being a little facetious. For 34 years old and a big guy at 215 pounds, that's still pretty spry movement by John Elway.
And a quick move to get out of the trouble.
He's got the bad wheels, the bad knee. Still gets around pretty good.
2nd and 3. Russell cuts it back, picks up the first down, takes it to the 32-yard line. 2:30 to go, third quarter. Chiefs lead by 7. Jameson and Fragan in on the stop. Jim Fassel, the offensive coordinator.
He is speaking directly to John Elway.
I was starting to say he's speaking to John.
Kind of unusual for the play caller to be on the sideline. Most offensive coordinators like to work from the press box where they have the good vision of the field.
Well, they have their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator, Charlie Waters, both work on the sideline. From the 32, Elway throws, and that's Glenn Milburn with some beautiful moves, and he gets banged down by Mark Collins at the 19, first down. Milburn, good block.
Milburn may be small, 5'8", 175 pounds, but he has some great moves.
Well, I think, is that
leading receiver coming into tonight, and you can see why. You get it to him on a little dump off, and then he turns it into something big.
I think it's Derek Thomas was the guy that he made whiff back up at the line of scrimmage. Oh, look at that. The block at the conclusion of that play by Shannon Sharp.
Good drive thus far by Denver, right when they needed it.
First and 10 at the 19. Broncos down by 7. Here is the rookie, Derek Clark. And he gets just a yard. Clark out of Evangel College in Springfield, Missouri. A couple of thoroughbreds tonight, of course, quarterbacking the teams. In terms of most wins as a starting quarterback, Tarkenton Hall of Fame 125, Unitas Hall of Fame 119. Montana, of course, will be there 111. Bradshaw Hall of Fame 107. And Elway one shy of becoming the 5th quarterback to win 100 games as a starter.
I think Steve Hurt came out with an amazing statistic. Both these quarterbacks tonight have thrown the ball for what, over 20 miles?
Right, over 35,000 yards. 2nd and 11. Elway to the end zone. The catch is made by Jerry Evans.
They're going to get him.
Is down.
He was pushing off in the end zone, and they got him.
Momentarily, they signal touchdown, but if he's pushing off, it's coming back.
Well, there was definitely contact with Jaime Fields, number 59, in the end zone.
He just pushed off with his left hand.
Defense, penalties decline.
Well, they're going to get
right. They call it on Jaime Fields.
Good 58, but it's Jaime Fields. A little pushing in the end zone, and Fields gets the flag.
Well, Jerry Evans, the guy who has not been a big part of the Bronco passing game. You see the contact there, and boy, good concentration by Jerry Evans, staying with the football, and a perfectly thrown ball from John Elway.
4th reception for the year.
Yeah.
First touchdown for Evans for the year. Elam to try to tie it. He does. Well, we've got a beauty.
Oh, what a ball game this is.
And for once, the cliches are justified. The Chiefs and Broncos neck and neck as their two great quarterbacks match arms. That's it for the third quarter. Join us for the conclusion of the game after the break. Getting late in Denver and things are beginning to tense up. No more scoring in this one until late in the fourth when Joe Montana drove the Chiefs into field goal range and Glynn Elliott converted from 19 yards. So the Chiefs are up by 3, but the Montana family have been to Mile High before and they're not relaxing. Here's Denver back in possession at the 50-yard line.
1st and 10 at the 50. Over the middle, Shannon Sharpe. He loses the football, and the Kansas City Chiefs have it at the 41-yard line.
I thought they were going to rule he was down.
George Jameson recovers it.
You know, there wasn't an official anywhere near Shannon Sharpe. Oh, and he is distraught. Oh, Shannon Sharpe is just beside himself.
Trying to stretch out for extra yardage. No, he loses it.
The ball is loose.
Good call by the official, and Shannon Sharpe is disrupted.
Jaime Fields creates the fumble. And then George Jameson recovers it. And now Denver has to start thinking about conserving the clock. Allen goes nowhere. And the ball is loose, and Denver has it. Mecklenburg comes up with the football. Can you believe that?
Believe it? I didn't even see it. I did not see Marcus Allen fumble the ball. All right, let's take a look. There's Marcus, 32. He just takes the handoff.
Runs into his own man.
Oh, and there's the football. And Carl Mecklenburg falls right on top of it. You could see the ball fell on the other side of the pile.
He ran into the back of Tracy Green, and Elway doesn't even know the snap is coming. He's lucky he didn't fumble that, and Milburn turns it into a nice gain to the 32-yard line. John wasn't ready for the snap.
They turned something ugly into something great.
Well,
John was getting ready to talk to one of his backs or one of his linemen. He was not aware that that ball was going to be snapped. Let's take a look again. Now he's looking over the defense, and all of a sudden, here's the ball. What have I got?
What a
great look in his eyes.
What a great shot. 2nd and 3 from the 32. Here's Russell. Powers his way just inside the 30 and close to a first.
Never will you see anyone more surprised than John Elway.
How about scared?
Right
here.
Those
eyes right here.
Oh! Luckily, it was a very slow and kind of a fat snap back from Dave Weidel. Well, we have seen just about everything in this ballgame right here.
In case you just came home and turned that on, he handled off to Milburn, and he picked up 7 yards.
So here's a huge play. 3rd and inches at the 29. 2 minutes to go. Chiefs up by 3, and we've got contact and movement. And Thomas came across and was he induced is the question.
Whoa.
And then what's going on here?
Well, John sort of precipitated that. You can't really blame Jameson for tackling John Elway.
Well, I think there was a lot of indecision on the officials' part, you know, as well as
I didn't hear a whistle
the play
myself.
stopped. No, I didn't hear a whistle either.
We have the defense offside elevated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, Derek Thomas was way across the ball.
Each team with all of its timeouts remaining from the 24-yard line. Elway throws. A catch is made by Anthony Miller, and he is out of bounds. There's a leg goes down after the hit at the 10-yard line.
Yeah, Miller was out of bounds.
David Whitmore hit him late.
The official rules that he hit him out of bounds.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness on number 41 defense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Well, let's take a look at it and see how far out of bounds Anthony Miller was.
That's Whitmore. I tell you, they're calling this so close this year. Boy, that's tough.
Yeah, that is pretty tough. Wasn't really a devastating blow. Nonetheless, half the distance to the goal line. That puts us up pretty close, Kenny, doesn't it, to that 24 penalties?
It's first and goal at the 5. Now, Elway's been here a couple of times this year. The ball slipped out of his hand against San Diego, slipped out of his hand against Buffalo. What's going to happen here? He gives it to Russell, and he goes nowhere. Simeon makes the tackle. Meanwhile, we talked about Elway and what's happened on opening night against San Diego. After they'd had a big lead, and then they tried to come from behind. John had this ball slip out of his hand. It was ruled a fumble. Junior Seau came up with it. That preserved San Diego's win. Then in a Monday night a couple of weeks back in Orchard Park, New York, there's John on a wet night. It was raining. The ball slipping out of his hand on a 4th down play, and that was that in Buffalo. Second down, goal at the 4. 24-21, Kansas City, 1:41 to go. Shannon Sharp in motion. Fake bootleg. Throws back in the end zone. He caught it. Touchdown. Cedric Tillman.
A lot of time remaining, but a great effort on the part of the Broncos. Kansas City saying no, he was out of bounds. He got hit, and that took him out of bounds, unable to get both of his feet down inbounds, but
the Chiefs,
that's the reception.
It's still being discussed. It's still being discussed in the back of the end zone.
Well, one official signaled touchdown, and there was the hit by Whitmore that knocks him out of bounds. This is not over yet.
Oh, I think he would have got it down.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a tough one to take away.
This is going to be a
rather anticipated announcement.
Moderately important announcement.
The man that caught the pass went out of bounds and returned.
Wow.
The pass is illegally caught.
He was out of bounds before that.
Oh, that's a loss of down penalty. So they're saying prior to the reception, Tillman went out of bounds somewhere in the end zone, in the back of the end zone.
He went out of the end zone.
And then so what? They weren't even talking about the end of the play. Here it is, though. We do have it. Once you're out, you can't come back. We do have it.
Here is Tillman right here. Follow him into the back of the end zone. Watch his right foot right there. He is out of the end zone.
Mark Collins pushes him out of bounds, no question.
And then he comes back in and catches the ball. Now the other side of that is Mark Collins rides Tillman all the way into the end zone. You know, you could argue this thing both ways. Here's another angle. All right, there's Collins.
Yep, illegal contact.
Yeah, he's shoving Tillman. There's no question that's... You can't argue the fact that Tillman was out of bounds. You can make a valid argument that Collins should have been flagged for illegal contact
Absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely.
That argument was being made.
Oh, yeah.
Had to have been.
But the official not calling Collins to begin with sees that he's out of bounds and takes it from there.
Right. It's third down and goal after all this from the 5.
Denver's missing a man. They have 10 men on the field, I think.
And the play clock is down to 5. And Elway had a quarterback throw with a flag down. There's another flag down back at the 8-yard line.
If they didn't have 7 men on the line of scrimmage, if the missing man was a guy who was supposed to be on the line, it's an illegal formation.
You need at least 7, and Wade is saying I had 7.
You do not have to have 11 players. You just have to have 7 on the line of scrimmage.
You're exactly right.
And those are the gestures being made by Wade Phillips. What a bizarre.
Oh, this is incredible.
My initial reaction is that they have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. It looks to me like they've covered off both of the offensive tackles, which is what you have to do. You got your 5 interior guys, and both tackles have to be covered off, and the officials ruled properly.
They had 7 on the line, and it's a touchdown.
You can go with only 8 guys, a quarterback and 7 people on the line of scrimmage and still have a legal formation.
And this is a significant point after because it turns a 3-point lead into a 4-point lead. That means the Chiefs have to get into the end zone. So Elway on the quarterback draw. And Jason Elam for the point after with 1:29 to go.
Okay, first of all, Denver only had 10 men. Okay, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, here are the 5 guys up front, but they're covered off here. They're covered off here on the line of scrimmage. It is a legal formation, even though there are only 10 guys on the field for the Broncos.
It was so while they play all the way, there's no question about that.
Yeah, and you know there is a sense of justice here, because Mark Collins is not flagged for illegal contact. Denver has a touchdown taken away, and they get it right back.
With a lot of time for Kansas City remaining.
Let's find out if it's enough. Here's the Chiefs' first play after the kickoff. They need a touchdown, and they've got 75 yards to go to get one.
Bronx by 4. First down of the 25. The play's shaking. Marcus. And Atwater nearly takes his head off, and Allen is out to the 32-yard line.
Somehow Marcus stayed on his feet after that necktie job by Steve Atwater.
Gain of 7. Second down and 3 at the 32.
All right, the way Denver likes to play defense, let everything happen in front of you. You got the 2 killer safeties and Smith and Atwater. Let them come up and make the big hits.
They give it to Marcus. And figuring he has room through the middle, he takes it out to the 43, and that's a first down. Elijah Alexander with the tackle. And Kansas City takes a timeout. So 1:08, and they have 1 timeout remaining.
Boy, I'm not so sure I wouldn't have tried to get to the line of scrimmage in a hurry and run a play. Tough to put yourself in a situation here with 1:08 left and you're down to your last timeout. You're going to have to burn the clock. It's going to have to run between plays. It seems a running play like that is the time that you can get to the line of scrimmage quickly, more quickly than other times, and run the play.
Our cameramen are terrific as always. This joint is shaking, so occasionally your picture shakes because the building is shaking.
It'd be difficult for Montana to change the play at the line of scrimmage. And this is why.
What a wild scene this is.
First and 10 at the 43, 1:08 to go. Joe to Walker, and he gets into Denver territory to the 49-yard line. Out of bounds, 1:03. Darrell Hall wrote him out.
Boy, that only took 5 seconds.
Second and 2.
How's it feel, John? Somebody else is working on
this crowd.
Doing your deal.
Collectively caught their breath for a moment, but they'll be back as soon as Kansas City breaks the huddle.
If you have any sense of history about this league, watching Elway and Montana do their thing tonight, good stuff.
On second and 2, off the fake, Joe steps up, drops it off over the middle. Anders very close to a first down to the 47-yard line, but the clock keeps going in case he wants to conserve its final timeout.
That is a first down.
At the 47-yard line, they move the sticks.
They need something big.
And Joe swings it out far side. It's dropped. Incomplete.
Just as well. Anders. That's really a break for Kansas City that Anders drops that ball. After he juggled it once, he might as well drop the thing because he wasn't going to go anywhere with it, and the clock would have kept running.
Joe is 30 of 50 for 346 yards.
What is he, 37 of 55 last week?
He's thrown 105 passes in the last 2 ball games.
Not what they want out of this offense.
And more to come. 2nd and 10 at the 47. 36 seconds remaining. Montana to a wide open Anders. And Anders gets out of bounds at the 36-yard line. That's a first down. 29 seconds.
Ooh, did that missed tackle by Randy Hilliard hurt? That hurt.
Could have kept them in.
Yep. Now, granted, there's still a long way to go and only 29 seconds to go to get there, but keeping Anders in bounds would have really aided Denver's cause.
Well, Hilliard goes 165 pounds. Anders is 230.
Yeah, but that's a whiff.
Yep.
He didn't trample him. That's a whiff.
Could have kept them in, and it wouldn't have been a first down. From the 36, Walker in motion. Joe, pump fake, and then finds the safety valve. It's Walker. He's got another first down, and he's out of bounds at the 24 with 20 seconds. Bradford with the tackle. This is amazing.
Listen, kind of glad you're here. I'm just glad to be here. You're right, Frank.
Good look downfield. He wanted something deep.
Again.
Saw the coverage. His man slipped, went to his knees, and Montana did a Montana.
Denver better put more of a rush than that on Montana. That's a long time to let him stand there.
20 seconds remaining. Joe over the middle to the tight end, Green. He takes it to the 5-yard line. To the rookie Green. They have a timeout left, and they take it here. First and goal. Well, I tell you, when it takes your breath away at 5,280 feet, it really takes your breath away.
Tracy Green, the rookie from Grambling. Marty Schottenheimer told us this past summer this youngster has an opportunity to become a great football player. An offensive lineman at Grambling.
But look at the alleyway, Frank.
No rush at all, as
no
I said
rush
before, but look at Green, looking the ball right into the chest.
Double tight end set.
He'll look for the end zone.
First and goal. He puts Walker in motion. He throws to the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown by Davis.
What?
Willie Davis. Unbelievable.
Effort by Willie Davis.
Lord, you can take me now. I've seen it all.
Ben Smith with the coverage. Davis makes a great catch. Just gets into the end zone. The throw is right there. Amazing.
This lived up to the billing.
All right.
Elway doing his thing. Montana coming back doing his. And Willie Davis with one of the great efforts you'll ever see by a receiver.
Again, what killed Denver was their lack of a pass rush, and that is as sweet a catch as you will see. We talked about it all drive. No pressure by Denver on Montana at all. Guys, you know you just can't let him stand there like that. Your heart breaks for the Denver Broncos. It really does, but Kansas City appears to be off the snide.
And Marcus says to Willie, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, he does.
Well, it'll probably be a while before John Elway and Wade Phillips can appreciate having been part of a classic. But for Montana and the Chiefs, instant gratification.
Well, this team's been snake-bitten here as much as I have been, so you kept alluding back to those type of things, and finally we wore them down a little bit and got one.
So Kansas City get the win, and the hero gets the girls in the best game of the year so far.
I really like girls. Yeah, I really like girls. I like girls. I like girls. I like the way that they giggle when they walk up and ask you to dance. Oh, that's the way that they wiggle, wrapped up in the skin-tight pants. They got style, they got smiles, they drive me wild. Yeah, I really like girls. Yes, I really like girls. I like them small, I like them tall, I like them all. Now every day and every way, they're here to stay. I'm here to say I like them. They're really neat, they're really sweet, they are petite, so I repeat, I like girls.
Now time for a look at the kind of things that happen only in America. And if Atlanta's wide receiver Andre Rison looks particularly happy to be back in the Georgia Dome this season, it's probably just relief at having a roof over his head. This is home video of what used to be his home, a $2 million mansion destroyed in an arson attack. And this is the suspected arsonist, his girlfriend Lisa Lopez of the hip-hop group TLC. The two apparently had an argument, and Lisa felt that throwing crockery just didn't make her point well enough. She's also accused of damaging 3 of Andre's cars. He's forgiven her, the police haven't.
She's a beautiful person, a beautiful lady, and I love her, you know, to the day I die. But I think there's something wrong as far as her mental state. Yeah.
That song, incidentally, is by L7. No word on whether TLC plan to cover it. Now, being Jim Everett means never having to say you're sorry. The New Saints quarterback has had to endure sniping about his bravery over incidents like this when he went down untouched in a game with his old team, the Rams. But when a talk show host baited Everett by repeatedly referring to him as Chris Evert, he did what a man had to do.
I think that you probably won't say it again.
I bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
And if we look at the replay, you'll see first Everett lobs the table at his opponent, then tries to put him away with the smash. Chris Evert, for the record, has won more matches than Jim is ever likely to. Now, while we're across the line that separates the brave from the truly stupid, check out the fan with the running back fantasy in the Dallas-Pittsburgh game. Had some good moves, though. Past the cop, who'd had one pre-game donut too many. Note the intentional grounding of the truncheon there. And a couple of nice cutbacks past stadium security before he's finally brought down at midfield. The crowd loved it. It was Pittsburgh's longest run of the day, after all. I suspect the fan, though, may have to go on injured reserve once the local police have finished with him. Time for our main game now, and it comes from the Mile High City in Denver. Leading the Chargers on offense is the talented but erratic Stan Humphries. The spiritual leader of the whole team, though, is on defense, Junior Seau, the linebacker who makes his opponents say exactly that. The Broncos rely, as they seem to have done for decades, on the long-distance arm and last-minute heroics of John Elway. This season, though, he has some new targets to throw to. The main one, wide receiver Mike Pritchard. So it's opening day at Mile High Stadium, and an AFC duel between San Diego and Denver, with Chargers coach Bobby Ross hoping to put one over on Denver's Wade Phillips. Your commentators are Gary Bender and Pat Hayden with the Broncos' opening drive.
Elway to Leonard Russell, their big burly back they picked up from New England. They'll get a couple of yards. Leslie O'Neal made the stop there. Second and 7. From the gun. Elway, Shannon Sharp. He was tackled immediately by Stanley Richard. There's a late flag now coming. He was 4 yards short of the first down on the catch. But let's see what the penalty's all about.
Personal foul by the offense, number 79, unnecessary roughness. 15-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Second down, 19. Elway.
What's going on?
Deep, wide open Pritchard. Touchdown, Denver. Well, we expected a lot of fireworks. A 50-yard strike from Elway to his new weapon, Mike Pritchard.
Gary, I think there are only two players in the National Football League who can beat you by themselves. Steve Young is one of them, and John Elway is the other.
Jason Elam, the point after attempt out of the hold of Jeff Campbell, and it's a 7-0 game, the Broncos.
The Broncos have a rule, Gary, that as soon as John Elway starts scrambling, one of the receivers always goes deep. He steps underneath, that's his favorite scramble move. Pritchard goes deep, and he's beginning to use those two new weapons.
7-0, Denver strikes first.
The Chargers couldn't do anything with their first possession, so we rejoin Denver with their next drive, and they've got the ball deep in San Diego territory on the 20.
Away, far side, complete. Anthony Miller, his first catch as a Denver Bronco, and he's very close to the first down at the 30-yard line.
You will see Anthony Miller catch a lot of those short little hitch patterns because everybody is going to give him respect deep. And you can't double up on him too much because of Shannon Sharpe. But you know when you're going to catch those passes, you're going to take a shot from Junior Seau. He is an unusual player at 250 pounds that can make plays and will make plays from sideline to sideline.
It was a first down catch. Elway now 3 of 3 for 63 yards. Over the middle, this time Shannon Sharpe, and Sharpe has another first down catch. And you can see now, as John Elway told us, the biggest thing I have to do is just get the ball in the right places, and he's doing it tonight. That's a 17-yard gain to yet another receiver.
And Gary, he's setting it up perfectly. He's used all of them. Here's Shannon Sharpe. Now, the Chargers said coming into the game, we want to double him. But what has Elway done? He's thrown a touchdown to Pritchard. He threw a short pass to Anthony Miller, and then he comes back and uses Shannon Sharpe when he has single coverage.
Total yards thus far, the Broncos with 84. First down. This is Rod Bernstein, a former Charger for 6 years, and Rod Bernstein has another first down as he pile drives his way to the 35-yard line. You know what's happened to Bernstein? The addition of Leonard Russell, they feel, has made this guy lower his pads and run tougher, using the example of Russell, who'll just bowl people over.
Yeah, and they need that. And we're going to take another look at Junior Seau. Now, this play, he overruns Rod Bernstein and doesn't get him at the first shot. But there's absolutely no quit in Junior Seau. He's going to miss him there, but he doesn't stop, and he helps him to tackle after that.
17-yard gain to the 35. First down. Elway with a lot of time, going up top to Anthony Miller. Overthrown, and defending on the play was Dwayne Harper, the veteran who had 61 consecutive starts for the Seattle Seahawks. That was the first incompletion for Elway. He had hit all 4 of his previous tosses. There's a little shovel pass to Bernstein. Bernstein hurdles people and takes it to the 21. One thing they don't want Bernstein doing too much is jumping. That's when he gets hurt a lot, but that time, nice little hurdling move for a 14-yard gain.
And a good lead block by number 42, Leonard Russell. 42 on the right of the screen. He's going to jump right over Seau. Seau goes low, he goes high, and that's a first down. But I want to tell you, Leonard Russell's been an impressive lead blocker since he's come to these Broncos. You thought of him as a power runner, but he's a pretty good blocker as well.
First down now from the 22. This drive starting from the Denver 20. This is Russell, the guy which you spoke just a moment ago. He's down to the 10, the 5, diving, touchdown, Denver.
Hey, this is how you start a season. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns.
Elam to try to make it to 14-0. And he very easily does it. An 80-yard drive and 6 plays culminating in this 22-yard run.
So a solid beginning for the Broncos. John Elway using his new weapons to good advantage and to get out to a 2-touchdown lead over San Diego. Then the Chargers got their offense going. We pick up their next drive with the ball on Denver's 41.
Second down and 10. Humphreys complete to Harmon. Harmon dives forward, and they got a first down to the 21-yard line. That's a 20-yard pickup.
Yeah, if Diego is going to get back in this football game, Ronnie Harmon's going to have a lot to do with it.
First down. Humphreys buying time. Papuno. And Papuno takes it in for the touchdown. 22 yards, and that might get the Chargers back on to a more positive note after starting out 17-0 in a hole.
The Chargers tried to take advantage of a new NFL rule by running the ball back into the end zone for a 2-point conversion, but they fail. 17-6 Broncos at the end of the first quarter. Into the second now, and Denver are driving again, deep in Charger territory.
Second and goal from the 13.
Charger defense needs a play right here.
Here comes a blitz. Up the middle, completes to Glenn Milburn, and Milburn inside the 10, tackled in the vicinity of the 9.
Remember we said at the very beginning of the show, they have a plan for Junior Seau. You always know where he is, and you want a big body on Junior Seau. That time, it was a blitz right up the middle, and I think it was Wydell and Nylander, the left guard and the center, that picked him up and gave Elway a chance to dump the ball off to Milburn. So big body on Seau gave Elway a chance.
Derek Clark is coming to the football game, number 43. He's the rookie who has a nose for the goal line. He led them with touchdowns in the preseason 4. Third and goal. Elway to Milburn. Glenn Milburn to the 5. Touchdown, Denver.
Wow, they do have some weapons.
This is kind of their change of pace guy, and Bill Arnsparger, the 67-year-old defensive coordinator of San Diego, scratching his head.
He comes out of the backfield, near side, number 22. When he caught this ball, I thought he was well defended. I mean, there were plenty of white jerseys around. The stop, to make the guy miss, you break through an arm tackle, and you're in the end zone again. The ability to stop and start makes Glenn Milburn a special third down back.
Elam with the point after, Jeff Campbell. After the snap by Dave Wydell, and the kick was up and good. 83-yard drive, and Milburn, who's playing with so much more confidence. Last year, he kind of wore down, committed 9 fumbles, but they think he's come back strongly.
So Bobby Ross's team need a spark to get back into the game quickly. Here's their next possession.
Second down and 6. Humphreys going deep, wide open, Sean Jefferson, touchdown, San Diego. Ray Crockett was blistered on that play, a 47-yard completion.
Hey, give San Diego some credit here. I mean, they could have been knocked out of this game early because of the spectacular offense of the Denver Broncos, but they have not. They've come up with some good plays, some big plays of their own to climb right back into it.
Point after attempt now, John Carney out of the hold of John Kidd. And Carney now has cut some of this deficit down.
So the Chargers playing the Broncos at their own game with big plays and bringing the score back within 2 touchdowns. And they get some help on defense on Denver's next drive, an interception of John Elway by Darren Carrington. So let's see if the Chargers can turn that turnover into some points. They're driving now from the Broncos 29.
Humphreys. Harmon can't quite get there. Pretty good defense that time by Elijah Alexander. That shows you speed coming out, picking up the back out of the backfield.
Remember last year, Denver really got hurt by tight ends and backs out of the backfield, and that's really the reason Elijah Alexander is starting for the Denver Broncos. Brings a whole new type of speed to the linebacker position for them, and he can make plays like that against a Ronnie Harmon.
Out of Kansas State, a former 10th round draft pick of Tampa Bay. The Bucs made a mistake on him there. Third down, virtually 10. Humphreys going deep, save, wide open, touchdown. That's his first career catch.
Hey, if you're going to make one, your first career catch, make it for a touchdown. He dropped 2, but then comes back and gets these Chargers right back in the ballgame.
Going to try to cut Denver's lead to 3. Humphries, double pumping, back of the end zone, nothing there.
So the two-point conversion fails again, but not as badly as the coverage in Denver's secondary. Look at the touchdown. The receiver wide open. So the Chargers tighten the score. It's 19-24. Just before the half, though, Denver makes a last attempt to pull away from the Chargers.
3rd down and a yard. Elway, and it's intercepted. Picked up. Stanley Richards comes out of there. He could go all the way. Stanley Richards, who had 1 interception the entire 93 season, takes it for the touchdown.
Amazing what a turnover can do. A 98-yard return and a successful two-point conversion this time give the Chargers a 3-point lead in a game that had looked as though it was going to get completely away from them. When we come back after the break, it'll be the start of the 3rd quarter. Chargers 27, Broncos 24. Welcome back to Mile High Stadium in Denver for the second half of our featured game. And at the start of the 3rd quarter, Denver kicked a field goal to tie things up at 27 apiece. The Chargers started their next drive aggressively and looked as though they might go back ahead with a touchdown, but it fizzled out. They settled for a field goal too. We rejoin the action on Denver's next possession. They've got a 3rd and 11 at their own 32-yard line.
Elway with time. And a nice catch at the 47-yard line by Mike Pritchard. He had to adjust on that one and adjusted very well and makes a 15-yard catch.
Yeah, Mike Pritchard is so strong. I mean, there was great protection there. Elway hung in there in the pocket, but Mike Pritchard is so strong. His hands are so strong. And he made a good adjustment and catches it, diving away from a hard ball by Elway. Started with the protection. Freeman, number 68. Habib, number 75, doing a great job there. Plenty of time. That ball was thrown hard.
And Pritchard's over 100 yards for the night. He's 9 for 107. Leonard Russell thundering ahead to the 41-yard line. And right now, that offensive line is coming off the ball. That was Ray Lee Johnson, who had a free ride for a couple of yards, finally got him down. Derek Clark comes in replacing Russell. Ruben Davis has had the x-rays, or will have them taken, I guess. Ice on the elbow. 1st down. Elway dumps it nicely to Clark, who just checked in. And Clark hammers the pile backward for a 1st down move to the 30, an 11-yard pickup. This guy, a free agent out of Evangel College, the Crusaders in Springfield, Missouri. He scored 77 touchdowns in college. Elway is over 300 yards in the game now. Here is Bernstein on a sweep. And Bernstein tackled by Leslie O'Neal short of the 25. Elway tonight has 313 yards, his 24th career 300-yard game.
Yeah, but his team is losing by 3 points right now, and these Chargers on offense have been equally effective. They've been equal to the task. Now, the problems for both teams tonight have been on defense, but the complexion of this game, Gary, I think really has changed. It's settled in to a kind of hit and miss kind of play now. Instead of those big long passes we saw in the first half, with some runs here, some power plays, some short passes.
2nd and 6 for Denver. Minute 20 left in the 3rd. Elway, again, finding Clark over the middle. What touch this guy can have at times. He looked, he had pressure coming. A nice soft toss over the middle. And Clark has it very close to another 1st down at the 20-yard line. And it's going to be Bernstein, a little change of direction. He's to the 10, he's to the 8, 1st and goal. He missed somebody penetrating and then was able to get up the field. It was Sayal who is able to elude and get a 12-yard gain on the play.
Well, Sayal almost had this play stopped before it got started. But it was a terrific adjustment, a change of pace there by Rod Bernstein. The block by Russell really allowed him to get through there, but Junior Seau had a chance to disrupt that play.
And that was the end of the third quarter, with San Diego still holding on to a 3-point lead. But on the next play at the start of the fourth, Denver were knocking on the door with a 1st and goal at the Chargers 9.
Elway, rifle shot to Anthony Miller, and he'll be stopped short of the 5-yard line. David Griggs, number 92 over there.
Boy, he had Anthony Miller on that one, but he also had Rod Bernstein swinging out of the backfield. Bernstein caught a pass down there early in the first half and caught it down there.
Substitution now. Leonard Russell will come into the ball game as they bring out a tight end, Jerry Evans.
Well,
there's a distribution again.
Sharp, the leading guy, but I'll tell you, there's been some big plays by Pritchard. Miller hasn't been used much, but he has set up a lot of things with his blocks.
They have more weapons than our United States military. Second down and goal, and Leonard Russell just checked in, couldn't come up with that one. Covering on the play was Dennis Gibson, the middle linebacker.
Well, that's the matchup you like. That ball may have been tipped. I mean, you always like the back, Leonard Russell against the linebacker and Gibson, but I think the ball may have been tipped at the line.
So from the 5-yard line, it's 3rd and goal there.
Okay, again, we've talked about how games generally turn on 4 or 5 plays. This is one of them. And you have 70 offensive plays, but 5 of them are usually a difference maker.
3 wideouts from the gun. Elway over the middle. The catch is made by Sharp. Touchdown, Denver.
They can beat you with the long ball, Gary, for touchdowns. They can power the ball for touchdowns, which we've seen tonight as well. And then they can finesse you as well. Shannon Sharp's knee is bugging him. He has taken a couple of low tackles from Darian Gordon at least twice.
I think he's got muscle cramps. They're bending his toes up, which is usually an indication of that. But again, that's the guy he's always looking for on third down.
It's just a check down. He is not the primary receiver, number 84, right there in the middle of your screen. He's blocking, and then he comes in. He's the third option there, but Elway finds him. He bowls his way in the end zone, and the Broncos are on top.
The point after attempt now by Elam is on the way, and the Denver Broncos have a 34-30 lead.
So Shannon Sharp's touchdown reception gives the Broncos the lead for the first time since the second quarter. San Diego haven't been in it much this half, but they've got the ball now with a 3rd and 2 on their own 30.
Papunu is the lead back to Means. Nathan Means fighting forward. He got it. That's that little surge, that little burst, that ability to move the pile that's going to pay big dividends to this team as he moved it out to 36. Now we have Atwater getting into it along with Deems May.
But Gary, there was no push here by the defensive front. And a good push by the offensive line. That's all short yardages for your defensive player. It's getting some penetration. No penetration. That leads to an easy first down for the Chargers.
So the call worked. San Diego continues from the 36. This is Eric Bieniemy who's checked in. And Bieniemy, strong guy, not very big at 5'7", pushing people backwards. Keith Burns made the stop. You know, Denver's playing a lot of young guys in there. Keith Burns, they're having Alan Aldridge in the game. Here's Rondell Jones, who's in for the first time after coming back from a thymus operation. He had the thymus gland removed, had to open his chest. He's wearing a special chest padding to play. I mean, they're throwing everyone they can get in here right now.
But Gary, you know, in the NFL today, you need guys on defense, 16, 17 guys who can play like starters.
2nd and 8. Humphreys with the play action. Up the field, broken up nicely. Ray Crockett.
Great play.
Ray Crockett has really flashed in this quarter. He's been everywhere. The pass intended for Mark Say.
There hasn't been a lot of great defense tonight, but one guy, Ray Crockett, has played pretty darn well for these Denver Broncos when you think what he's been asked to do. Crockett timed this thing perfectly. Had him covered, saw the ball, jumps, knocks it away with a cast on his left hand. He shut down Ronnie Harmon in the receiving game, did a nice job on a wide receiver.
The free agent who 5 years played with the Detroit Lions. Third down, 8 yards to go. Humphries complete to Sean Jefferson. He's very close to the first down. I think they're going to give him the first down mark as he caught the ball across the 45-yard line. On this drive now, San Diego's 3 of 3 on third down conversions. First down it is as they mark the ball across the 45, make it the 47-yard line. Humphries, a real leader. They call him a swashbuckler. He's the guy who this team responds to, and trying now to come from behind, trailing by 4 with 9:05 left in the game. Natron Means again changes direction, stiff arms the man, and runs hard to get a couple of yards to the 50-yard line. 11th play of the drive. Humphries. Papunu to the 40. Rambling inside the 35, breaks 1 or 2 tackles and almost broke it. Papunu, who's so underrated, went 25 yards. They're going to mark it just short of the 25-yard line. We have a Bronco down. That is Keith Burns, the rookie,
another
who is down at the 40.
You know the Broncos out without Wyman. They've lost a lot of linebackers here in this game. The Chargers have to be thinking touchdown, Gary. 7:50 remaining in the ball game, down by 4. You can't turn the ball over, but they're thinking touchdown.
First down for the 25. Means has got a head of steam on at the 20. Bursts it close to the 15-yard line. He's one of those backs, Pat, that seems to get stronger as the game wears on. You always hear about running backs have to carry the ball 12, 13 times before they really get it going. He has 17 carries now, 84 yards, and Darrell Hall is down. Now, Hall was out in the preseason with a shoulder injury. Let's see if that's the same injury.
You know, Charlie Waters, defensive coordinator, came in. His team has been injured all preseason long. They've not played one down together until tonight's game. He's lost most of his linebackers. Now his starting strong safety is injured, and he's playing against a red-hot San Diego offensive team tonight. So with your linebackers out, your strong safeties out, it's a second and short. You got a running back like Natron Means. I say keep working him. Give him the ball.
Means has 84 yards in the game. 2nd and 1. And here's the guy you were just talking about, and moving the pile and gets the first down. 7:18 left in the game. The Broncos by 4, 34-30. Timeouts in this game. San Diego has 2. Denver has all 3 of theirs, as now they bring in the big troops in the middle, Ted Washington and Dan Williams.
I tell you, one of the things Bobby Ross has to be thinking about, I mean, 2 things. A, we got to get the ball into the end zone. We're down by 4 points. But the other thing is try to use as much time as you possibly can. Everybody knows about John Elway and the way he can come back. So you'd love to be able to run off another 3 minutes of the clock.
Jefferson comes in motion. Means almost slips down, stays on his feet, and with good determination gets to the 10-yard line. Means is getting his work, and that's what they warned him. They said, you are going to be a workhorse on this team, and tonight certainly epitomizing that.
Now, Ronnie Harmon comes into the ball game. Remember, we said that Stan Humphries is still finding or trying to find that go-to guy in the wide receivers. I mean, they've had some big plays, but I don't think there really is the rapport developed yet between the wide receiver. He does have it with Ronnie Harmon.
2nd and 7. Current drive, 15th play of the drive. Means again lowering his head, and the pile moves to the 5-yard line. They need to get inside the 5 to around the 3-yard line to get a 1st and goal. 5:54 left in the game. And now coming in is going to be Eric Bieniemy at a running back spot. They are going to have a 3rd down and 3.
I'm surprised to see Harmon go off the field on 3rd and 3, honestly, Gary.
Yeah, I am too. Bieniemy's in his stead. Bieniemy straight ahead and powers his way. He may have a 1st and goal, and I think he does. Well, he looked like he was shot out of a cannon as he went straight up the field, and he got the 1st and goal.
It looked like he got a very good block on the left side. I think it was Joe Kokozo, the left guard, maybe Courtney Hall, the center. But there was a hole down there on short yardage situation that you generally don't find. And he didn't waste any time. No dancing there by Eric Bieniemy. Well, Kokozo, Papunos, number 86. Hall, Kokozo, number 68. Just did a great job of clearing out the way of the hole for Bieniemy.
First and goal at the 2-yard line. They've had the ball over 9 minutes on this drive. Means big collision at the goal line. Looked like he wanted to go airborne and just couldn't do it.
Well, they're doing what they want to do, is getting themselves in position to score the touchdown and using the clock. Now 4:30 remaining in the ball game, Gary. But no matter what happens there, Denver's going to get another shot, maybe two, even if they do get the ball in the end zone.
Boy, Means took a real shot in the face mask that time. He's carried the ball 21 times, 95 yards. They still need another yard from him. Second and goal. Papuno in motion. Play action. Humphreys. Backside. Deems May. Too long.
Had him. And Humphreys knows he had him.
Deems May is playing a lot tonight because Dwayne Young, who's usually their H-back tight end, could not answer due to the fact he's slowed by a hamstring.
You run the ball, you run the ball, you run the ball, and then you run for play action. And you generally have a guy wide open. Now, Deems May, number 88, is open. And I think Humphrey tried to lob the ball too much instead of drilling into him for a touchdown.
19th play of the drive, consuming over 10 minutes. Handoff, Means, diving, touchdown, San Diego, and they've taken the lead. Boy, that was a real gut-check drive, wasn't it? They just kept hammering, and finally Means culminates it with a 1-yard drive.
Well, Natrone Means is the best defender for John Elway. But this was a good drive. It was good plays by Stan Humphrey. The offensive linemen, Courtney Hall, Joe Kokozo, did their job earlier. And this time from 2 yards out, Means gets airborne. And again, it shows you how he's an unusual big man. I mean, he gets airborne and leaps like a much smaller scat back.
19 plays, 89 yards, 10 minutes, 6 seconds. And you can see Means is a tired person as he comes off the field. Carney's point after, there's a flag. The kick was good. 2 flags have been thrown. We got holding against San Diego. They're going to have to kick it again. Boy, they need this too, because they need to go up by 3. On the drive,
holding
we talked
by the
about.
offense, number 92, 10-yard penalty, retry.
On that drive, Means carried the ball 10 times for 44 yards, and he's just 4 yards short of the 100-yard mark. And they're trying to cool him down. The combination of altitude, heat, and that kind of work, that's deadly.
Well, Stan Humphrey said to us last night, we have a very good chance of winning this football game if Natrone Means gains 100 yards.
So now, the point after will come from the 20-yard line. It'll be like a 30-yard field goal. Kid to hold. The kick up by Carney, and he got it. And again, a very important one, giving them the 3-point advantage. 37-34 with 4:01 left in the game.
So the Broncos, John Elway, the great comeback artist, gets one last chance to try and win the game, and he's driven the Broncos deep into Charger territory.
And the ball came loose.
Get out of his hands.
It threw it. He started to throw it. It came loose, and I think Seau got it. It's like incredible. He started to throw it, and the ball just came out of his grasp.
You know, I've seen that happen to quarterbacks on a wet day, on a rainy day, on snowy days, but not a day like that, like tonight.
That will go as the 3rd interception of the night. But what a bizarre ending to this game.
But absolutely fitting that if someone was going to intercept it, it was going to be Junior Seau. Now, Elway is rolling to the right. I don't think he has a lot going here. I think he was just going to throw this ball out of the end zone. Just comes loose. And there's Seau.
Wow.
We said Seau was always around the ball. We said Seau was one of the biggest game changers in the NFL. And once again, he does it.
So the Chargers' defensive star comes out on top against the Broncos' offensive star. San Diego 37, Denver 34.
I mean, we played hard. We deserved to win. I mean, I can't say that it was a cheap win by any stretch of the imagination. They might have statistically had more yardage than we did, but I mean, it wasn't a cheap win. I mean, we earned some things.
All the Week 2 action for you coming up in the big match on Monday, but coming up after the break, a look at O.J. Simpson, the player, and some more great action.